Oh my God, man. So many zombies.
It's like World War Z. What is that?
It's his homemade grenade. He makes them in his workshop. Take two together, duct tape it together like his
Rob,
pillows.
why does he have a warhead in a backpack?
You got to do what you got to do. She's just standing there looking.
She's standing there.
Oh, I love the slow-mo.
80s bomb slow-mo. Guys, the butterflies may be bombed out and depleted right now. We took x-rays. Rob and I are good. Welcome back to the Jersey Comic Crew. And of course, we are doing our review and reaction to episode 5 of Peacemaker. Rob, this was a really fun and intense episode. Probably my favorite episode so far. What'd you think?
I know we only have a couple episodes left of this show, but I feel like this show right here is showing its strength. It's hitting its stride, right? We're so focused on like what Peacemaker does and how good he is, but we forget that this whole team has like a great ensemble cast, and this show, and especially this episode, really does a good job of elevating that, right? We see Adebayo work with Peacemaker, and that friendship and bond start building, especially what we just saw throwing the bomb and like they're shooting things together. Seeing Vigilante and Harcourt working together was something I didn't expect to enjoy as much, but I did. And then ultimately, like, Diebeer coming in and saving the day. Like, it felt like a team, and actually felt like a good team. And like, I just enjoyed so much that it's not just a Peacemaker show, even though it is. Like, all the secondary casts are like fleshed out, and like you truly are like relating to them and bonding with them. And like, when they all started that text message chain of the 11th Street kids, my heart warmed. I was like, they're a family. They're having fun together, which I think means that they're going to die.
Yeah, you never know. And the other thing is, like, now I just think everyone's head should be x-rayed. Just at this point. I love that you had actually kind of this, they got over the hump, right? They kind of all like are these ragtag, douchebaggy, jerky people. With all these different personalities. Obviously, we have, Peacemaker, who's just a bully from the get-go. We have that great bully scene. But I did like that you kind of got over that and people are starting to connect, whether it's him and John are connecting over music and he's got like the 11th Street Kids tattoo on him. And, Harcourt's kind of softening after the crazy mission that was just a success after they should be dead, right? Like, there's no reason they should be alive fighting these super-powered butterflies that are apparently like zombie-like strength.
I'm just saying, a chainsaw to a gorilla was in this episode, and that's normal. Like that's the kind of world we live in.
I love that scene and everything after that. Just the party inside the truck. I also love how Vigilante was absolutely clean. Like, he had no blood on him.
He was so mad.
He was so mad he didn't get the chainsaw, which he said it and had it in the beginning, I was like, oh, he's gonna kill somebody with it. He's gonna bring it. Or like someone's gonna do this, right? So you're kind of waiting for that to happen. But really quick, I wanted to get your take on kind of the softer side of this episode, which a lot of people kind of glanced over because we're getting the funny, the glam rock, the super powered, the John Cena muscles.
Yeah.
But the cops are in a completely different realm of this show right now. And they are not only dealing with, a massive neo-Nazi problem on their hands, but Clemson Murr, who we know as a butterfly now, is calling for help from someone from his past who shows up, immediately becomes the new police chief at that district, and is basically covering up the fingerprints for Peacemaker to show that, to kind of frame his dad to keep him in jail. So what did you think about that whole side of it?
So a part of me is like, all right, this is like just the deep state. This is like the Suicide Squad of Man of Water, making sure things are covered and nobody could like see what's going on and make sure Peacemaker doesn't get in trouble. Cool, I get that, but part of me is like, all right, Murr's a butterfly. So is this guy a butterfly also working with him to take down other butterflies or the world? Or is it just like this one butterfly has the memories of Clemson Murr and realizes, oh, if I'm going rogue, I'm going to need this regular human to like make sure that I clean my tracks. So it's kind of like in a situation, I don't know if it's a quote unquote deep state, like Suicide Squad plan of action to cover all this up, or is it the butterfly plan? And I think that's a big part of the show. Everybody's like, what is Murr's true objective here? Like, is he team butterfly? Is he team Suicide Squad? What exactly are the butterflies? That's something we still ask ourselves to this day. When we're looking at the actual cops, if we just focus on them and they're trying to like, oh, Peacemaker is the bad guy here, not the White Dragon neo-Nazi guy, we might have to let him go. And everybody else is like, nope, don't worry about it. It's all good. And it's one of those situations where if you put yourself in the shoe, and that's, another appeal for this, it's like, oh, I don't think I would care. All right. The White Dragon, this neo-Nazi serial killer's in jail. We got him for something. Yeah. We're just going to let him. It's like, is your moral compass that strong enough that you're going to go against the system to release this evil, crazy neo-Nazi who deserves to be in jail to get somebody else who may or may not be saving the world? You don't really know. It's quite a dilemma that you're sitting there facing when you're watching the show.
It is, and I'm very interested to also see how this plays out, right? They go to like her uncle's house, who's like this big judge, and we're going to see that going forward. I agree with you. I'm on the point of like everyone else where it's like, screw him, man, leave him in there. Like, but also, you know, as that detective in that situation, you're kind of becoming what you were fighting against, right? Mm-hmm. Corruption, all this other stuff, and fighting for fairness. So that's going to be an interesting play out. I wonder how that's going to cross pollinate with the butterfly situation. I like what you said about Clemson Mern, because we don't really know how much the butterflies are behind the wheel of the brain of the person they inhabit, or how much they're allowing that person to be themselves, right? It seems like with that family we saw a couple episodes that, you know, the family was normal, quote unquote, normal outside, right? The dad was a business guy, he worked and the wife was this, and the kids are kids, but then they come home and then the butterflies kind of take over and nourish themselves with that, you know, gold goo. And whatever it is. And then Clemson Mern seems to, right? He's talked about his past. He's talked about his situation a little bit. Seems to be part of his personality. He reacts to like vigilante saying stupid stuff, you know, for the comedy tropes. Yeah. To me, the butterflies aren't fully in control. To me, I still think it's a little bit of a symbiotic relationship. And I'm wondering kind of going forward, how is that going to play out? Are all the butterflies bad? Are they good? Something we'll obviously talk about in a later episode.
I guess one of the last things I wanted to touch upon, the glue factory, right? The goo, not glue, not horses, guys. Goo, as in like gabagoo, right? The gabagoo factory, right?
Yo, we got all of it here. Gabagoo here, over there. What you want some more?
I guess like the big thing is like, where's all this goos coming from, right? And that's something that we really need to heavily focus on, especially if this is, you know, if this is just season 1, and I guess season 2 is going to be actually fighting the big bad. I have no idea what they're going to go with this show. Like, my thing is like, I thought maybe there's going to be like a giant like insect queen above it and like just secreting the goo. I don't really think that
like
they're
aliens?
making it. Yeah, they're like an alien chamber or something like that. So like if that place is just like the jarring facility, let's say, right? There's obviously another facility where they're making the goo, right? Because if it was there, they would have just stayed there and got it. So I guess the tech that they're going to find is like, oh, this is what's being created and how and where it's going to be. I just don't know what it is. Do you think? I guess my real question to you, Chris. I feel like it's in one of two camps. It's either camp A, it's a giant insect queen insect thing, right? She's secreting it all to feed her babies to take over the world. Option B is just some weird scientist or a bunch of rogue butterflies making this stuff to keep going on. Like either it's like a big figurehead or it's like a hive collective. What do you think it is?
I definitely am leaning towards the hive mindset. Okay. I think it's more hive collected. I do think there might be some type of queen akin to aliens, akin to, you know, kind of insects in the real world in general. Kind of mixing real world insect, you know, lifestyle situations, bees with honey and a queen, right? Okay. Creating this food source, they're putting it in a factory and they're pumping it so that they can give it to whoever needs it. But I also think it's mixing it with some type of alien situation where this is definitely an extraterrestrial that got out of hand, regardless if Argus had it to study it, kind of akin to how Peacemaker has one in a jar. And it got out, and it was the queen that got out and was laying eggs, and then it started, that's how stuff happens like that. But that's where I'm leaning towards, this kind of hive mindset. The second that one guy, when there's a part where Harcourt and Vigilante get seen as they're making the goo, which is terrible espionage on their part.
Harcourt's like, hey, duck down, and he's like this. Yeah, like he still sees everything.
I'm like, what? Like, isn't this your job to not be seen? But then they turn, and the one guy sees it and activates that ridiculous scream thing, right? And it's not only the people there, like people are coming out of the woodworks. So to me, that's telling me, okay, there's some type of hive mind signal going on. Same thing when Peacemaker comes in and immediately starts shooting people that he could x-ray, right? Yeah. There's like dudes coming out of nowhere, and as they're walking in a corridor, he's turning around left and right, and random guards are showing up. So there's some type of hive mind thing going on. I think that much we can say for certain.
I have another thing. I think, and it's gonna break your mind. I think there's a reason Harcourt didn't go with Peacemaker, because Adebayo went with Peacemaker. Mm-hmm. She got X-rayed. Mm-hmm. I think there is a high chance that she is also a butterfly. I think just like her and interaction with Clemson Murr sometimes, especially this episode, it kind of like seemed like they were on the same wavelength, or they were both kind of like looking at each other, like they have some history between the two of them, right? And I'm like, all right, that'd be cool. And this is obviously me going down the rabbit hole like we do here on this channel. So I'm like, all right, why was he not with her, right? And then like she kind of seemed like closed off and cold. And then also Clemson Murr said like I used to be very closed off and cold, and now I'm starting to realize that like I could express myself more. So what if this is like, oh, this butterfly that's inside her head is realizing humans aren't bad, right? And maybe like they could be good, and that's why she took the picture. She's building like this family. What if she is working with Clemson? Like these are two rogue butterflies who have left. Maybe it's not just one, and it's more than one, and that's why we didn't see her going with them. I think there's a reason why. That's all I'm saying. There's a reason why they didn't go together, and it might be that.
I like that, and I'll give you even a one-up on that, too, to double blow. Look, we're blowing lines back and forth. The double blow. Boom. Blah, blah. New effect I added now. There's been a lot of talk about our favorite part of the show, which is the opening song and the theme and the dance.
Oh, no.
And the part of the dance that shifts from Peacemaker over to when Harcourt and Clemson Murr enter.
Yeah,
they enter from a different section. The door opens, and they come out kind of doing this puppeteer walk. Yeah. A lot of people think that's a hint to that they're both butterflies.
Oh my God, this is deep state craziness. I love it.
As they get into the dance, then they start doing what everyone else is doing. But when they come in, they're doing something completely different, and it has this kind of like Puppet Master weird kind of motion to it. I don't think the opening sequence is not on purpose for some reason, right? There's also a theory that they're all infested with butterflies because none of them have, besides Peacemaker. And
Adebayo
isn't.
Oh, what if that's why Adebayo got sent there?
Maybe. I mean, like, there's this whole theory that everyone in that dance is at some point controlled because of the fact that they're not emotional dancing and the faces aren't laughing or happy, and the dance is very odd and stuff. So I think there's a little bit to it, but I will say the look she gave him at the end of the episode didn't seem to me like it was like, what are you doing? Stop talking. You're going to let this out of the bag. To me, it seems she was more skeptical of him. So I think it's for her, it's still on both sides of the court, kind of, where there's totally a possibility she's a butterfly, but there's also a possibility she's on to Clemson Murr, that he is a butterfly because of that like awkward pause where he's like, are you good? And she's like, yep. And then like leaves. So I'm really wondering which side it's going to fall, but I wanted to share that from the beginning because I thought that was an interesting anecdote too.
The only thing I could comment on that, I see that angle, the other angle perspective, like she's like, are you good? And no, and like yep, and they leave, and like she's skeptical. What if it's like the butterfly's doubting that he could go on with the mission? What if it's like, oh, maybe Murr's getting too soft and like you're leading them too close? What are you doing as a butterfly? You're breaking our agenda. But there's definitely a sense of distrust. It's what that distrust is.
I agree with you there. And I think what we need clarity on is kind of how much the butterflies on their own, like how intellectually sound are they, right?
Yeah.
Are they kind of just insects that need a host in order to have, fully functioning thought and ideas and creativity? Or are they on their own but need the host because they're on this planet and they can't just be flying around everywhere with people being like, what the hell is that thing? You know what I mean? So I wonder how much like natural intelligence they have as a species.
Yeah.
But that's going to be something going forward, as well as who else could be a butterfly. That X-ray, out of all the powers his helmets have, the X-ray one seems to obviously be the most important with how this episode ended.
And with that, guys, that is our review and reaction to the 5th episode of Peacemaker. We want to hear your theories. Down in the comments below. Do you think Harcourt is a butterfly? Do you think that there's a giant queen? Let us know all your crazy theories down below.
And guys, thank you so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, like it really helps the channel out a lot. If you're new, subscribe and turn those notifications. You don't want to miss any more of our Peacemaker talk. Of course, we're going to have a couple more videos for you guys. And if you missed anything, make sure to check it out right here on the channel. And as always, I'm Chris Heller. That's Rob Moran. We're the Jersey Comic Crew, and we'll see you next time.